case, we were documenting Jallianwala Bagh, and we had to be sensitive and authentic to the people who lost their lives. A fake curfew was implemented just to call innocent people terrorists. Two of them argued in the courtroom. It was absolute fireworks. Ananya went to the extent of shadowing a female lawyer in the Bombay High Court. And the movie essentially became about what really happened at Jallianwala Bagh and how was it a conspiracy. I'm so lucky that Ananya was a part of it and she's delivered a beautiful performance.
Hello, welcome to this special discussion hosted by Screen in collaboration with Waves 2025. I'm Alka Sahani, a senior film journalist with Indian Express, and our guest today is writer-director Karan Singh Tyagi. I would like to introduce today's theme of our discussion with Karan Singh Tyagi, Old Ghost, New Generation Portrayal of Colonial History in Indian Cinema and its Relevance. Very fascinating trajectory from being a lawyer to a filmmaker. Karan Singh Tyagi, a Mumbai-based filmmaker, wrote and directed the recently released Keshari Chapter 2, The Untold Story of Jallianwala Bagh, a period courtroom drama. He also scripted Bandis Bandit Season 2. He was also the showrunner on Kalkut. A former lawyer, Karan earned an LLM from Harvard University and LLB from Government Law College, Mumbai. He is admitted to the New York State Bar and Bar Council of India. Karan also finds time to write columns regularly for several leading newspapers, The Hindu, Indian Express, Times of India, and various other journals. So let's begin this conversation by asking Karan to take us through his journey from being a lawyer to directing and co-writing a courtroom drama.
Thank you, Alka. I would also like to thank Anand Goenka, everyone at the Indian Express. I would like to thank the organizers of the Wave Summit for having me here. Alka, to answer your question, I'll tell you a personal anecdote that will give you all answers. So they say one can't outrun their destiny. And my destiny was sealed in 1985. In fact, even before I was born. So my parents were big movie buffs. And my mother, when she was pregnant, she went to watch a movie with my father. And the movie's name was Meri Jung. It was a courtroom drama, directed by Subhash Ghai, starring Anil Kapoor. So just like Abhimanyu from his mother's womb learned about warfare, I was learning the intricacies of both court and movies. And my fate was sealed. And yeah, as it turns out, I couldn't outrun my destiny, and my first movie is a courtroom drama.
But Karan, what was your impetus or inspiration to become a filmmaker and full-time filmmaker and then storyteller? Because you had already worked as a lawyer.
So the inspiration actually was movies. I was bitten by the bug of Bollywood from a very young age. Watching movies was like religion. In fact, I remember during my law school days, I used to watch every movie twice. Once on Friday morning with my friends, and then the same movie Saturday evening with my family. So it was the love of Bollywood movies. And I grew up on the cinema of the 90s. I loved Rajkumar Santoshi and his fascinating movies like Ghayal, Ghatak, Damini, which were about societal injustices, but spoke to the entire country, spoke to everyone in the country, and had a force and an impact. So I grew up on those movies. I also come from a middle-class family where education is given a top priority. So my parents insisted that I finish my legal education, take up a job. But I very soon knew that one day Bollywood would call me. And I summoned the courage. I told my New York law firm partner that I want to take a sabbatical and go to Bombay and try my hand at filmmaking. And then when I came here, I was very lucky to meet some amazing people. I met my friend, my brother, Amritpal Singh Bindra. He is the founder of Leo Media Collective. And he co-wrote the story with me. And he then went on to produce the film along with Dharma Productions. It is because of Leo Media Collective that my first movie is mounted on this big size and scale that it is. and then was lucky to have my family who supported me every step of the way. My wonderful wife, who's a lawyer, who continues to be a lawyer, she was there with me every step of the journey. My parents. So to answer your question, it's been love for Bollywood. It's been growing up on movies of the 90s and just being blessed to have a great support system.
If a Harvard student could find time to watch 90s masala movies, that speaks volumes of the power of Indian cinema.
Yeah, my outlet during my law school days, when my days were filled with classes and looking at textbooks and reading law, was Indian cinema. I remember walking in for 2 kilometers in snow to catch a show of My Name Is Khan. And I in fact summoned my entire class to watch that movie. So yeah, watching movies has been the biggest driving force.
Karan, why were you drawn to this particular episode in Indian history, which is so brutal, Jallianwala Bagh massacre episode, and the court case that followed?
So actually, for me, the trigger point was a book that I read, Case That Shook the Empire. So a colleague of mine, Atmika Didwania, she handed me this book. And what the book was telling me was a very fascinating story, because we all know about the massacre. We all know that General Dyer came on innocent people, but the book threw up some interesting insights. The book told me that the massacre was a planned conspiracy to kill, that everything was premeditated, that there were Gorkha and Baluch soldiers who were called to execute the massacre, that the Sikh infantry was kept completely in the dark. A plane flew over the Bagh to ascertain whether enough people had assembled. A fake curfew was implemented just to call innocent people terrorists. So everything was planned, and this was very interesting and very new revelation. And when I read it, I just knew that we had a story in front of us that needed to be told to the entire country. And also the fact that the massacre was planned, and then a man called Shankaran Nair, a barrister who started off as a lawyer for the British Empire, fought this case to uncover the truth. So these are very interesting revelations, and I wanted the story to come out.
As a filmmaker, what is your primary concern when you are taking up such a project? As a historical film, so are you thinking that you have to entertain, engage the audience, also at the same time the film to be informative?
So for me, I wanted the story to be told in a way that the entire country watches it. So for me, the primary concern was that the movie has to be engaging and has to be entertaining. Which is why we compressed a courtroom trial that went on for months and months into a 2-hour narrative. And when we did that, we had to compress timelines, we had to create drama, we had to create interpersonal dynamics. So for me, the story had to be communicated in a manner that the entire country laps it up.
Just a quick question. Everybody knows about the court case. Are you aware of Shankaran Nair fighting this case against British Empire? Or do you want, in 2 sentences, for Karan to just sum it up so that you understand the conversation better? But now, okay. So then we can proceed with the conversation, yeah. This is a pretty sensitive issue, and even though it's based on history and how do you balance fact with drama? Because cinema is also it's not a documentary, it's a movie, it's a feature film. Sure. How do you do that balancing act?
So one of my screenwriting heroes, Aaron Sorkin, he said that movies on real life events and real life people need not be photographs. They can be paintings. Because a photograph is an accurate representation of that period. But in a painting, one gets more freedom, more latitude to create drama. As I said, to create interpersonal dynamics, which is what we set out to do. Because our goal was pretty clear. Our goal was that the country needed to know about Shankaran Nair. And in order to do that, we also had the family's blessings with us, because the book that we were adapting, Case That Shook the Empire, is written by Shankar Nair's great-grandson. So we went on to create a transformational arc for the character by understanding insights from his life, where Shankar Nair goes from a point of being a British aristocrat, somebody who was knighted by the British Empire, into becoming the country's biggest patriot. But at the same time, we were very mindful that we were not deviating from the factual realities of Jallianwala Bagh. So everything that you see about Jallianwala Bagh in the film is accurate and is taken from the book. And we were very mindful of that. So yeah, the only thing that we did was we transformed a defamation suit into a genocide trial. Because to counter defamation, you need to prove the truth of what happened. And a movie essentially became about what really happened at Jallianwala Bagh and how was it a conspiracy.
And if you have seen the movie, you see Akshay Kumar and R. Madhavan pitted against each other. You know, there is a highly emotionally charged, some room scenes. So how did you nail the casting of this? Because you got two Indian cinema stalwarts for one movie and to be pitted against each other.
So more than me choosing them, they chose me. They are powerhouses of talent. And I'm so incredibly lucky that they played a part in my first film and delivered such incredible performances. As far as Mr. Akshay Kumar is concerned, he understood pretty early on that we were making the film for two reasons. One, we were making the film to honor the lives of people who died at Jallianwala Bagh. They came to celebrate Baisakhi and they left as martyrs. So we wanted to honor their sacrifice. So he understood that core emotion. And he also understood a person's life that the world doesn't know about, which is Shankar Nair. So he came on board as far as these two core emotions are concerned. As far as Mr. R. Madhavan is concerned, you are absolutely right, he's a stalwart. And we are so lucky that he played a part in our film. I've said this before, that every great protagonist requires a very strong antagonist. And Maddie Sir for us was that. So when Maddie Sir entered the courtroom, we wanted the audiences to feel that Shankar Nair has a worthy opponent, that Shankar Nair can lose the case. And I don't want to give out spoilers for people who have not seen the film. He does something remarkable in that court case. And just the two of them, they were feeding off each other's energies. They were just incredible. They were improvising till the last minute. I'll give you a very small example. So there's a scene in the film where Maddie-sir's character offers a glass of water to a witness to gain sympathy. And after he offers the glass of water, the witness delivers a testimony which is very helpful to the Crown's case. And Akshay-sir's character throughout is just observing this whole thing play out. When the table is turned, when the witness is cross-examined by Ananya Pandey, she breaks down. She delivers a confession. And when that confession is delivered, we had got the shot. We had got everything. And I just saw from the corner of my eye, before I could call cut, Akshay sir start pouring a glass of water. And he started walking towards that same witness who was crying now, because for him, it was one-upmanship. It was a battle that was playing at different levels. At one level, it was Shankar Nair, India winning the case against the Crown. But at a second layer, it was Shankar Nair trumping his biggest adversary, Neville McKinley. So that is what these amazing actors, they bring, they portray, they add, they embellish. So I was just very lucky to have them.
Can you recount, what was the energy like in the on the sets of Courtroom that you must have created with Akshay Kumar and Madhavan being there together?
So as I said, the energy was incredible. They were feeding off each other. They were, Akshay sir used to say something, Maddie sir used to counter. When the two of them argued in the courtroom, it was absolute fireworks. It was absolute fireworks. So many lines have just come in our film because of what these actors improvised, of what they brought out. So the energy was unmatched. You had to be there to see it. It's an experience that I will never forget.
And how was the energy after the camera was switched off? Was there some kind of revelry or some camaraderie?
In fact, we all were aware that we were making a film on a very serious matter. So for us, dedication, discipline was very important, and so that was the prime focus. Even after we stopped rolling the cameras, the focus was always on the next scene. Focus was always on the next day. So that was the energy that they brought to the set.
I find it's a very lovely addition that you have Ananya Pandey's character, which obviously is a fictional character.
That's correct.
Yeah. Her character Dil Gil. I was wondering if is it inspired by Cornelia Sorabji, who is first woman lawyer of
You're
India?
absolutely right. In fact, you're one of the very few people to get it. It is definitely inspired by Cornelia Sorabji, India's first female lawyer. And for me, characters work when they operate at different levels. So at one point, the character of Dil Gil is the moral center of the film. She's the one who rattles Shankaran Nair, gets him to act, gets him to fight the case. But at the second layer, she herself is fighting male bias. She is a female lawyer in a world which is dominated by men. And for me, which is why Dilpreet Gill's character is extraordinary, because she is a female lawyer of that time, going from one street in Amritsar to another, collecting evidence, gathering evidence, and then she has her own crowning moment where she argues in court, and she is extraordinary. And as I said, at the same time, she is battling her own internal demons. Her family wants her to settle down. Her prospective groom has a problem, argue at home, and she counters that. So that is why that character is important, and it's beautiful, and I'm so lucky that Ananya was a part of it, and she's delivered a beautiful performance.
And Ananya, I feel, is evidently the character. You have put in a lot of effort into creating this character, because I love the look and the feel of her character. Can you, did you take historical references? Can you offer us some insight into how you build this character?
I have put in very little effort. It was Ananya who's put in a lot of effort in creating the character of Dilpreet Gill along with me. So yes, you're absolutely right. We looked up at a lot of pictorial references of women lawyer of that time, Cornelia Sorabji being one of them. We modeled her look on Amrita Shergill, this maverick painter in early 1900s, and Ananya went to the extent of shadowing a female lawyer in the Bombay High Court to understand courtroom mannerisms. She took dialect classes to get the Punjabi diction right, and what you see on screen is a result of her hard work.
And Karan, what I find fascinating is that you are telling us a story, a courtroom drama, which happened, say, a century ago. And the audience is fairly young that you are dealing with. So how does that play on your mind while approaching the subject, while writing and directing?
Yeah, so we wanted our film to appeal to a very contemporary young audience as well, which is why, in fact, the character of Dilpreet Gill, who is a young lawyer of that time, we wanted the young people of the country to understand that they cannot take their freedom for granted. That the freedom that we are living in today is a result of sacrifices made by innumerable people. So we wanted the film to appeal to a young audience. In fact, even in our teaser of our film, there's a 4-letter word which we have used, and the idea behind that abuse, which Shankaran Nair utters in an English court to an English judge, was that we wanted it to be reflective of young India's mindset. A young India which is aggressive, a young India which is strong, a young India which does not hesitate to look the oppressor in the eye and to hold them accountable. So yes, we were intentionally appealing to a young generation.
I was intrigued by the rap song. I hope everybody has heard it. Cyclone. Rap is also like representative of protest and a very pretty contemporary music style. How deliberate, how conscious of were you that you are using rap song?
So again, intentionally, you are absolutely right. Rap is a form of protest. Rap is a form of speaking to today's generation, and we wanted the music to be anachronistic, not of that time. It's a period film, but we wanted it to speak to the present, which is why the use of music, which is why certain visuals, which is why, as I said, the character of Dil Gil. And yeah, that is the reasoning behind the use of rap song.
Like you mentioned, given the subject, which is pretty grim, it was not fun, but I'm sure there must have been days when you would have had this sense of satisfaction or fulfillment, and there must be days when you got
No, in fact, it was not like all days on set were grim and we were serious. There was, when we were shooting Akshay sir's entry sequence in the film, he dons a Kathakali attire and he puts on Kathakali makeup and dances. For me, I'm a first time filmmaker, every day was a bundle of nerves. But that day I had the most fun because I saw him sitting patiently for hours, get that makeup and then deliver a dance form, which he was doing for the first time. And in fact, I'll say that day was one of our most fun days on set. And yeah, so it's not like every day was grim.
But what are your challenges also? Like it's a historical, so anything that
You're saying a challenging day?
Or challenges in filmmaking that you faced?
So, I would say a challenging day or a challenging sequence would be shooting the Jallianwala Bagh massacre sequence. Also because it's been depicted so beautifully on screen several times. Rang De Basanti, Sardar Udham, Gandhi. So shooting that sequence was challenging because we wanted to bring something new to the audience. And also because we were depicting such a painful tragedy. When we were shooting the last scene, we were losing light. It's a normal occurrence in, on film set. It was the last ray of light and we had to shoot a very powerful scene. And I remember running up to my producer, Amrit, who's here, saying that, please, I want to shoot this again. I want to shoot it tomorrow. Are you sure we've got the perfect take? And he assured me that, no, we've got it. And this is, for people who have seen, this is a sequence where Pargat is lifting the body of his sister and walking through a sea of dead bodies. It was such a powerful sequence. And we couldn't check whether on the monitor, whether we have got the perfect take because the light was fading. And now what you see on screen, motion is so right. In fact, I remember on set, we had these stuntmen who are meant to be these muscular, tall, Punjabi boys, and they were weeping. So which is when I knew that, we were onto something special.
You mentioned Rang De Basanti, Gandhi. What are your favorite historical films?
In fact, the film that comes to my mind is Lagan. It is such a beautiful story through the construct of a cricket team to tell a story of the country coming together, irrespective of your religion, your caste, to form a cricket team and take on the mighty British Empire in a game of cricket. I think it's epic, it's awe-inspiring, and I absolutely love that film.
Would you make another historical, a period drama?
I would really like to. I want to tell human dramas, and I'm drawn to history. And there are numerous instances in our past which I feel should be documented. So given a chance, would really love to make another historical drama.
Any specific episode from history?
So in fact, there are numerous episodes in Indian history which are very fascinating. I absolutely love reading about the 1857 revolt, which was our first war of independence. I feel that is a very fascinating portrait of our history. Which can be documented on screen beautifully. I'm very drawn to Mr. B.R. Ambedkar, a Dalit boy who was denied entry to a classroom, and for him to sit at the front of the Constituent Assembly, I think that is an inspiring story. And I feel there are our history is filled with lot of powerful human dramas. And as I said, I want to make stories for the widest possible audience. And that will be my attempt. And my stories will be reflective of the great country that we live in.
Of course, when you are telling such a story, you are a storyteller, a filmmaker. How responsible do you feel? Does it weigh on your mind?
So I feel the responsibility is always there when you're documenting a tragedy. In this case, we were documenting Jallianwala Bagh, and we had to be sensitive and authentic to the people who lost their lives. That was very important. That responsibility is there. And there was an added responsibility because we were documenting the life of Shankaran Nair, and which is why we adapted a book written by Shankaran Nair's family, and we had the family read the script. In fact, they also saw an earlier cut of the film. So that responsibility is always there when you're documenting history, but that responsibility has to be balanced with making the film engaging and making the film appeal to a wide audience.
One of my final questions, you mentioned 1857. Do you think you would like to, you already have experience of doing a web series. Do you think it can be converted into a web series? Because given the enormity of that, what happened?
It certainly can be translated into a web series. You are absolutely right. But I want to make films, I want to make theatrical films for the entire country. And if I have to tell the story, I would like to tell it in a form and manner which is released theatrically.
What happened in our past, and Kesri Chapter 2 is a fresh revelation of reminder of our colonial past and the wrongs that were done.
Yeah, and here I would like to say something that we've received a heartwarming response from people across the country. And I urge everyone sitting in this auditorium, if people you have not seen the film, please go and watch it. It's a labor of our love. It's my first film. It's a very important film, and I would want everyone to watch the film. Thank you.
And I would also say that it's wonderful that the makers have kept it in the halls. It's still running in multiple halls and screens. So that's a wonderful thing. So yeah, audience should go and watch the film.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
I never knew about this story unless I saw this movie, but is it so that this is the exact story which you have depicted, or you had to cut down because of the cruelty? Like
So because of the?
cruelty due to the massacre.
So, yeah, in reality, the massacre was very brutal. We have tried to portray it in as close a form as possible. In fact, that's the reason why we got an A certificate in the film as well, because we wanted the massacre to feel gut-wrenching. In fact, to answer your question, we have not shied away from showing the brutality. At all.
Why, to the last question she asked, you said you would rather do theatrical films and not web series as a general point, you said. Why did you say that?
That is my personal point of view, sir. I love watching web series. I love watching OTT shows. But my primary love has been the big screen. I feel there is no substitute for a community atmosphere. In fact, when I see reaction videos of people watching Kesri Chapter 2, during the last monologue, people are hooting, clapping, whistling, shouting slogans, and I feel there can never be a substitute for a community atmosphere. So that's my personal reason.
Karan, so I believe that when it comes to historical films, there's a lot of chances that people really dive into facts. When that happens, you leave a sense of emotion or relatability. With Pargat, I feel the sense of youth that you were trying to show comes most from that. The emotion comes from that. So for a budding writer, how does one try and manage that? And how does one try and think of stories that are already existing and try to find a balance in relatability with the people?
So to answer your question, thank you for pointing out Pargat. Pargat is a beautiful character. And your question was about balancing fact and emotion. It's my personal experience, emotion always trumps fact. Emotion will always trump logic, and that is how it should be. So follow the emotion, follow the beating heart of your narrative. And Pargat is the beating heart of our story. If there was no Pargat, there would have been no Shankaran fighting the court case. So follow the emotion.
And I really believe that his character especially makes the whole narrative so poetic. The writing of it also, it's really beautiful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So you said, yeah, you have adapted the book. So can you tell us, how much time you took from book to the final screenplay, and what was your process?
So my co-writer Amrit and I, we started writing the screenplay in 2020 during the pandemic, and it took us close to 2.5 years to finish with the screenplay. After we wrote the screenplay, we had dialogue writers Sumit Saxena and Akshat Gildial, who came on and who wrote Hindi dialogues in the film. So it was close to 3 years. We took close to 3 years to write the whole draft.
Hello. First of all, congratulations on your debut film.
Thank you.
Many people aspire for that, and you have achieved it finally. So, huge congratulations on that. And my question is, see, I'm also making a film which is going to show British brutality throughout the world, like the end. So it's an animation film called Kissed by Fear, and there's a lot of historical context which I'm showing. I'm showing slavery. I'm showing Islamic jihad, Islamic invasions, everything A to Z. Sabka pole khol raha hai udhar. Now I am having to balance a point here. Ki how much can I show the actuality of it? Because it is brutal, but it is the truth. So, what did you do to downplay the put the fact across, but downplay the emotion slightly so that it is bearable to the sane mind, so that the audience should not be traumatized while watching the scene, but should feel the pain. So there's a balance that needs to be struck over there. So in that context, how did you, do you have any of these thoughts, or did you have to navigate this kind of a scenario?
So it's a call which when we are shooting or when we are editing finally, we don the audience's hat in a way and try and understand that it can never be brutality just for brutality's sake. The brutality has to service a larger emotion. So on a case-by-case basis, the answers will come in front of you. If you're showing gore just for the sake of showing that, we can show the shot of a hand being chopped off or legs being butchered, that's the absolute wrong way to do it. It is always brutality has to serve a larger emotion. And once you have that kind of thinking, you'll get your answers.
That's fantastic response. The reason is that the aim, you asked for the aim, right? The aim is to show what a human mind is capable of, what kind of depravity it can actually go to.
Then you have to go the whole hog.
The whole. And not worry about censor and all that. Just do your thing. That's it.
Yeah, that will be your decision. Like, we were happy to take an A certificate and have 0 cuts. Even though we want the film to be watched by everyone, but we wanted to stay true to the larger emotion.
Mine will definitely be an A certificate, so I'm not even trying for you. There is going to be a lot of it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My name is Kishan. I'm a person who likes to know a lot of things about history. As a kid, when I saw Bhagat Singh for the first time, it gave me a very broader perspective about the history, about the facts. हमने पढ़ाई की है books में, but जब मैंने movie देखी, उसका जो एक impact था, वो काफी गहरा था और काफी different था. As a filmmaker, when you make a movie like Kesari 2, I wanted to understand 2 things. One, as a filmmaker, how sensitive it is for you to play with the filmmaking, because you are playing with the facts, not exactly playing, but to give the entertainment buff in the movie, you need to slightly change a bit of the things. And the second question is, how is it the portrayal of colonial history in Indian cinema and its relevance, the definition of this particular session, how is it impacting the society, like as a whole, for the society? क्या difference पड़ रहा है ये सारी फिल्मों से?
So I'll answer your question by giving 2 examples. Your first question was about facts and, deviating from facts. So there, we were very conscious, and I've said this earlier, that we were making this film to honor the lives of people who passed away at Jallianwala Bagh. And we were making this film to honor the life of Shankaran Nair. So as far as that is concerned, when those are your two driving points, your two, the main reasons for making the film, then all your decisions that we have taken flow from that. And we were very conscious, as I said, of not deviating from the factual matrix of what really happened at Jallianwala Bagh. So to answer your question, you have to define the core emotion as to why you're making the film, as to what about this narrative do you want the world to know. So we were very sure that we wanted everyone in the country and the world to know about Shankaran Nair's courage. So every decision that we took, every fact that we adapted was to honor his bravery, was for the whole country to understand his fight, his struggle. So it is the core emotion which will give you the answer. And about relevance, one big reason why we made the film is that after the massacre, the empire went into an overdrive to protect General Dyer and spread a fake narrative that people at Jallianwala Bagh were terrorists. And in fact, General Dyer's granddaughter, Caroline Dyer, till today believes in that fake narrative. So we wanted the film to be relevant in today's time because we wanted to demolish that narrative once and for all. So in fact, if you see, our movie ends with a slate that the Britishers until this moment have not expressed regret and have not said the word sorry. Because for us, that was very important, because what the empire did after the massacre was a crime at a government level, which is why the government of UK needs to take accountability. So that is to answer your relevance question. Thank you.
Thank you.